Hello everyone, Chip Boaz here, and today on the Jazz Lowdown, we're going to be taking a look at the reverb pedal that I use in my setup and see how it sounds on my 6-string bass. As a jazz bass player, I don't use a whole lot of effect pedals in my setup. Actually, I only use the one effect pedal, reverb. I don't use this when I'm laying down the groove. I find it would get too muddy in that context. But when I'm taking a solo or I'm playing a melody, I'm generally up in the higher register of the bass, especially on the 6-string bass, and I find that it just fills out the sound a little bit and really kind of brings it to life. I see it as an essential and inspiring part of my sound, and I would recommend any bass player that does that type of thing to really check it out. Side note, I only do this on my electric bass. When I'm playing upright, I like a clean, pure sound and I never use effects. But I think it makes a world of difference on the electric. So let's check it out. I use the Boss RV-6 Reverb Pedal, which I think works really well. Boss has a long history of effect pedals that have been tried and true parts of guitar and bass player setups, not to mention some keyboard players sometimes. The RV-6 debuted in 2015 at Summer NAMM, and it was accepted by a lot of bass players very quickly. It replaced the RV-5, which had been an industry standard for over a decade. It added a few new features and crisped up the sound a little bit. I like the RV-6 a lot. I'm going to be honest. I'm not an effects expert by any means. When I was looking for a reverb pedal, I knew the Boss name, so I just went out and grabbed the one that was available. I know there's lots of options out there that a lot of different players probably really like, but the reality is I use it on every gig, and I'd recommend it to any bass player looking for a pedal with a rich, reliable sound. Here's a bonus tip. Always read the manuals for your effect. I'm more of a plug and play type of guy. I know how it works, I plug it in, and I like to go and make some music. But in doing some research for this video, I read the manual for the RV-6, and it turns out it's got a couple of features that I didn't even know about that I could have been using all along. It's pretty cool. So let's check it out. So you can power up the RV-6 in a couple of different ways, starting with the good old handy 9-volt battery. You just take the pedal here. We're going to unscrew this knob here at the bottom. The pedal will open up. Pull out the 9-volt jack. I'm gonna plug that in. And then once I get that all hooked up again, look at that, I got power. You can also use a DC adapter that you plug into the wall. Just like that, you got power. This is my preferred method because there is nothing worse than getting to a gig and finding out that your 9-volt battery just died. It's worth noting that the input jack serves as a power switch too. If you don't have anything plugged into the input jack, you don't have power. Once you plug it in, you got power. On the input side of the pedal, you've got 3 jacks. And on the output side of the pedal, you've got 2 jacks. On the input side, you've got the A and the B input jacks. The A input jack is a mono input, so if you're running one bass, like I am, you just plug right in there and you can go straight out from there. If you're running an instrument in stereo, you can plug into the A and B jacks and use them for stereo. The third jack at the bottom is for an expression pedal, which allows you to control the depth of the reverb on the spot, which I think sounds awesome. But I'm gonna be honest, I've never done it. I don't own an expression pedal, but I need to get one now that I know this. That would be amazing. Another interesting possibility is you could run a single bass into another pedal and then run out from that pedal into the RV6 in stereo, thickening up your sound. Another thing I haven't tried, but I really want to. On the output side, you've got the A and the B output, which you can use in a variety of ways. If you're running a single bass into the RV6 through the A input, you can run straight out of the A output to a single amp. That's what I do. You can also run that single input out of the A and B outputs to 2 different amps if you want to thicken up your sound. And of course, if you're running into the RV6 in both the A and B input in stereo, you can run out of the A and B output also in stereo. Another interesting option that I just learned about in the manual is plugging your single bass into the B input only and then running out from either just the A output or the A and the B output to get only the effect sound. So you won't hear any of the original sound from your bass, you'll only hear the effect. That doesn't sound super practical for what I do, honestly, but if you're doing soundscapes or even some sort of free jazz type thing, you could get some really cool sounds coming out. So let's check it out and see what that sounds like. The knobs at the top of the pedal let you shape your sound, so let's take a look at them. The knob on the right-hand side allows you to choose between several different types of reverb. We've got the standard choices here, starting with room or hall reverb, which simulates different side spaces and the reverb that you might find in them, with room being a little bit smaller space and hall being a massive space. There's also plate or spring, with the plate option imitating the sound of a metal plate vibrating. Well, the spring option emulates an old school guitar amp reverb that had an actual spring inside of it. You've also got some more interesting options. You've got modulate, which regularly alters the sound of the hall reverb. That gives you a nice, interesting twist on the standard hall sound. There's also dynamic, which will alter the sound of the reverb automatically based on your performance. The shimmer option emphasizes the high frequency and puts a sparkle on your sound to really create something unique. The plus delay option adds delay to the reverb, which can be really cool. Honestly, I think this might even be more interesting if you hooked an independent delay pedal up to your reverb pedal so you could alter the sound of both, but it's nice to have it right there on the pedal. The other other three knobs are pretty straight ahead, with the effects level on the far left letting you decide how much of the original sound you want versus how much of the reverb sound. The tone knob lets you alter the EQ of the reverb sound, emphasizing the lower frequencies if you turn to the left and the higher frequencies if you turn to the right. Fun fact, it might seem instinctual to boost the low end since we're bass players, but I actually like to turn it up on the high end a little bit to get a little more clarity and distinction to my sound. That's just me. The last knob is the time knob, which allows you to control how long the reverb will last after the initial attack of the note. Now, it might seem really tempting just to crank that all the way to the right, just so that reverb really just resonates. But if you're using it in the way that I do, to play melodies or solos and thicken up that sound, you run the risk of it getting pretty muddy when you do that. So I'd keep it at a reasonable level. Thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. I hope you learned a little bit about the pedal and possibly got inspired about some potential uses for your music. The RV-6 is a pretty cool pedal. I've been using it for a long time and I never hit a gig without it. I'd highly recommend it. If you want to check it out, click the link in the description below. And of course, let me know what you think about the RV-6 down in the comments below. Do you like the sound of the pedal? Maybe you already use the RV-6 and have some insights that I missed. Let us know. I'm gonna be honest, all of this emphasis on the pedal has got me inspired to check out some other effects. So if you've got ideas for me to get started, pedals that I should be checking out, let me know down in the comments. Or maybe you use a different reverb pedal that you like better. Let me know down in the comments so I can check it out. If you enjoyed the video, hit like, give me that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you can see all the videos coming your way in the future, and keep it on the lowdown. I'll be seeing you soon.